is getting criticized from the most shady but fruitful of sources, an anonymous NFL executive. Via Jeremy Fowler's yearly survey, one of the most overrated players in the NFL is Josh Allen. Immense talent, but he makes a lot of mistakes. He's underdeveloped at winning at the line of scrimmage, tends to lock on to targets, more of a thrower than precision passer, and forces throws into traffic. Your reaction?
Who said this, Wilds?
An anonymous NFL executive.
I have a confession, guys. I'm also an NFL executive. All right, so here's the thing. Obviously, Josh Allen's a very good player. And obviously, what this NFL executive is saying is true. Which is why I found so galling when I was looking up some Josh Allen numbers, because I want to be precise on this. You know, sometimes like clips from shows like ours play on the websites where they have the stats, like auto plays or whatever. And I saw my pal Dan Orlovsky call this guy an idiot.
Yes.
And it said, guy's an idiot. And then Dan went on to make things up. But what he said has just become like canon of the Josh Allen story, but they're lies.
Oh.
I heard he's 2 or 3 plays away from being in multiple Super Bowls. What are the plays? Tell me the 2 or 3 plays that put Josh Allen in a Super Bowl. Because I can go through the career. First year in the playoffs, you lost in round 1. So do we all agree you weren't 2 or 3 plays away that year? Okay, so that's not it.
Maybe.
Your next year in the playoffs, you were in the AFC title game, down by 3 scores in the fourth quarter and lost by 14. So do we agree you weren't 2 or 3 plays away that year? Then next year is the famous 13 seconds game, which happened in round 2. So if 2 or 3 plays go differently that game, then you are 2 or 3 plays and a whole football game at home against Cincinnati, who you would never lose a home game to Cincinnati, except the next year in round 2, you lost a home game to Cincinnati. The next thing I heard Dan and others say is, last year, he's a missed field goal away from being in the Super Bowl. No, you were a missed field goal away from tying up a game in round 2. That if you had then won, you would have gotten the opportunity to go to Baltimore. So someone just be okay with the honesty, which is physically, A+, arm talent, A+, career accomplishment, B, performance in the biggest games of his career, up and down. That's what he's been. And if we show you, Brew, throw out his first year, not fair, it's his rookie year, throw out his second year when he kind of turned the page. How has he been just as a passer since he became an MVP candidate? The answer is, all right, who cares about year 1, 32nd? This is a rookie year. Okay, since that MVP level year when he was 4th, middle of the pack. How has he been as far as turning the ball over? Well, since the beginning of his career. Most INTs since. Thank God they trotted Sam Howell out there 17 games last year, or else it would be his name across the board. So he is a wildly talented, flawed player, which is what this NFL exec said, and guys get called idiots for that because they don't want to do fan fiction on what the playoffs have been. So I agree with the guy.
Here's where, look, he got 1 vote of the 74, 75 people that Fowler talked to for best quarterback on earth.
Yeah, and he got MVP votes last year, first place.
And there is chatter generally going into every season. There's a little bit of chatter, it's probably less this year, but a little bit of chatter that he's like right there with Mahomes. So for those that think that, the guy that voted him the best quarterback in the league, those that think he's equal to Patrick Mahomes, if not better, they overrate him. But overall, I don't think he's overrated. He's ranked 3rd on the poll. I could argue he could be 2nd. You could argue he could be 4th if you put Lamar and Burrow ahead of him. So I think he's where as long as you know, he's not Patrick Mahomes. That's his biggest problem. Now, he is reckless, but the physical attributes kind of make up for that. And you showed, of course, the turnovers. I've said it before. He doesn't have the MVPs yet. But I've said he's this generation's Brett Favre. He doesn't have a Super Bowl either. But look at this, Nick. Yes, he makes a lot of turnovers. He's got the most TDs since 2019 by a mile. We're watching the best quarterback we've ever seen, and he's got 23 more touchdowns than him. And then everybody else, I mean, it's 50 plus more.
There are a decent amount of Super Bowls on there, but most of them have been won by.
But
Mahomes and Russ a decade plus ago.
They're all.
So I'm just saying he's a productive quarterback. Mm-hmm. He has taken a franchise that had made the playoffs before he got there one time in the last 19 years, and now they're a perennial playoff team and contender.
Wait a second.
So I'm saying the dude is on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
Okay, well that's too
He's
far.
not on a Hall of Fame trajectory?
If you show me
Does he have to win a Super Bowl to be a
Hall of Fame quarterback with 0 league MVPs and 0 Super Bowls other than Dan Fouts, then I'll listen to it, but I don't think it exists. I don't think there's one.
Dan Fouts.
I said other than Dan Fouts.
No, but that's one. This dude every year is a top 5 quarterback for his career.
Okay.
He's on Hall of Fame.
So here's my gripe with.
And nobody sans Mahomes nobody besides Mahomes this young in the league right now has a Super Bowl.
No, I understand, but they've been to them. They've won big games.
Win the Super Bowl. That's what we count, rings.
Well, no, I think we count rings, but we also...
And we count regular season dominance, and the guy's been great.
But the reason Joe Burrow is considered where he is because he got to a Super Bowl. That matters to him. Jared Goff, whenever people try to knock him down...
Jalen Hurts got to a Super Bowl.
And he wasn't even in the top
10.
I understand. But I understand that Josh is a dynamic and devastating runner. And that's why every go-to stat is total touchdowns, because they use him as their goal line back. And because of that, those numbers are juiced a bit. I think that's undeniable.
It's not easy to score a running touchdown.
I'm not
it's
saying
not easy to score in the red zone.
I agree. I think
so. You can't just.
I'm not saying it's
act
not
like
useful.
They're irrelevant.
I'm not acting like they're irrelevant. I think that they are. I don't look at a quarterback's rushing touchdowns as inherently valuable as their passing touchdowns unless they came from outside of the 2-yard line. If you have a 12, you're the first and goal, or first and 10 from the 16.
Why?
And because typically
you're not guaranteed to score because you're inside the 2-yard line.
I understand that, but typically your passing touchdowns are coming from outside the 5, and typically your rushing touchdowns aren't. So that's all it is. I'm not saying they have no value. I'm just saying I don't count them of equal value. Yeah. But the other problem that I have, Brew, is everyone acknowledges the Bills turned their season around when. What was the change? What did they start doing?
Running the ball.
But he was still throwing it like 30-plus times.
Well, Brew, was he? Because here's the no.
And when they went 5-0,
here's the numbers. Here's the